Chapter 9.
You're not kissing properly.
I'm not kissing at all, I barked. Mark and I stood toe-to-toe.
I know, but it should look like you're kissing your true love. Your face is all puckered and distorted.
Maybe that's because my back hurts from dipping you so many times. He gasped as his hand flew to his chest in outrage.
Are you saying I'm fat?
Frankie's eyes widened as he rushed over.
She didn't say that.
He soothed.
You check the scale every morning. And remember what you made us for breakfast?
Green power smoothies. Good for the complexion and that helps cleanse the body. A healthy body is a happy body.
Exactly. How can you be fat when you drink something so healthy? It's Nadia who has the problem. If she'd exercise more, she could dip a 300-pound man without breaking a sweat. And you're only half that. Or less.
He added before Mark could protest. My hands flew to my hips. Frankie hauled me to the side before I could protest too.
We'll stop practicing the dips for now.
Frankie whispered.
Just let him believe he's as light as air. I nearly heaved trying to suck down that green sludge this morning. If he thinks he's fat, he'll make us drink it all day long.
I rolled my eyes. Fine, as long as I can skip dipping. My back is killing me and I'm tired.
Oh?
Maya cooed as she popped up next to me.
And why would you be tired? Was someone out too late last night?
Her wide blue eyes begged for information. Yes, Caleb and I were out late, I stated.
And
I'm tired.
because
Because he ravished me all through the night, I said. Maya's hands flew up to cover her gaping mouth. I'm kidding, I said, breaking into a smirk. We had come close. But until I figure out which man is for me, no one is getting lucky, which is really starting to suck. Every time I kissed Caleb, Grayson's face appeared and I felt horribly guilty. And the kiss the previous night with Grayson made me feel guilty because he wasn't Caleb. The whole situation was like a double-edged sword. Even if I managed to navigate across the blade without getting cut, I'll still get jabbed in the end.
In other words, you haven't made up your mind yet.
Frankie said. Unfortunately not.
What's she whining about now?
Muffin asked, bulldozing through our makeshift stage with Pinata in tow.
Can you slow down a bit?
Pinata grumbled.
It's like trying to keep up with a bull seeing red.
Just be thankful I'm taking you with me. It's not every day I let a man tag along. You're lucky.
His eye twitched.
Yes. I'm so lucky that you abducted me and then forced me into marriage just so I could tag along with you to the beauty salon. You know the game is on, right?
No need to thank me, and you'll like this.
Why? Are you getting a wax?
He asked. I could only assume he wanted to see her yelp in pain.
That's too painful. I prefer the au naturel look.
Yes, the woolly mammoth look really gets a man going.
are you getting your hair done?
Maya asked, baited by any conversation that involved a beauty salon.
My hair's perfect,
She said, patting her frizzy corkscrew perm.
I'm getting a massage.
Then why are you dragging me along?
Pinata asked with a distinct whine.
I thought you might like to watch a woman rub oil all over my naked body.
Pinata paled as his eyes widened.
See, I knew you'd like it.
Muffin said with a wide grin.
I thought you might have a voyeuristic side. I'm okay with it. In fact, it'll spice things up.
Spice things up?
Pinata stuttered.
We're spicy enough. We're so spicy I need a roll of Rolaids and a bottle of Pepto to fall asleep.
If you were doing it right, you'd be so exhausted you wouldn't need Rolaids and Pepto.
Doing it right?
He blustered, his round face darkening to a deep crimson.
I know. That's what I'm saying. We'll work on it. You have potential.
Potential?
He blustered again.
Yeah. You may actually be a keeper. Most of my husbands couldn't even get it up. Not that I'd want them to.
I watched as Pinata attempted to contain his anger. It was a visible struggle, and I felt his pain. How many times had I wanted to strangle Muffin? Poor Pinata had it worse. Not only was he stuck in a marriage with her, she desired aggressive mating.
Escape while you can.
Frankie whispered to him from the side of his mouth.
What's that?
Muffin asked Frankie.
You're not trying to give him bedroom advice, are you? That's the last thing I need. He's confused enough as it is without adding your advice on top of it.
My advice.
Frankie blinked.
What are you trying to say?
Confused?
Pinata barked.
If anyone needs advice, it's Nadia.
Muffin continued without thought to the brewing hostile environment. I don't need advice, I argued.
We're wasting time.
Mark interrupted.
Practice makes perfect, and Nadia needs a ton of practice.
Muffin tugged Pinata.
We don't want to be late for my massage.
Pinata's eyes rounded as she dragged him toward the door. We watched in stunned silence as Pinata's flailing arms disappeared from view.
He's a goner.
Mark sighed, shaking his head. I scanned the Texas Hold'em tables for Caleb. Maybe he's at an Omaha table, I thought as I walked around the room. Even in a room full of men and a sprinkling of ladies, he's easy to spot. A handsome man with carefree caramel locks and a wide, easy grin can be a novelty at the dollar tables. A hand slipped around my waist.
I've been looking for you, kitten.
Caleb murmured in my ear. I'm sorry I'm late, I said, turning to face him and quite pleased that I did. The sexy smile he sent was enough to keep me content for the rest of the day. It took Maya an hour to pick out this outfit, and that was after a brutal practice with Frankie and Mark. He peered down with a sly grin.
This outfit made finding you easier. The green brings out your eyes. I'll have a killer run today with all the players so happily distracted.
The back of his fingers grazed over the low neckline.
Will you come over tonight?
I shook my head. You know I have plans.
A man can hope.
A smile escaped. Let's find a table. I only have a couple of hours. He scanned the room.
Over there.
He said, pointing to a table 2 rows away.
There are 2 seats open. Let's see if we can sit.
Just be kind. I know you need money, but leave me with a few dollars. I have a wardrobe to buy again.
Don't think you can outplay me?
I can, but you still have luck on your side.
Maybe we should make this interesting.
I eyed him. Interesting? Oh, no, not again. I don't think I could survive any more wagers with Caleb.
I want to see you tonight. If I win more at the table, then you cancel your plans.
I made a promise to never wager with you again.
What if I sweeten the stakes?
You already owe me $1 million.
This wouldn't have anything to do with money.
Nothing to do with money? Drawn like an ant to a picnic, I sighed. Name your stakes. I had made myself a promise to never wager with him again, but I could at least hear the stakes. His dazzling smile grew ear to ear.
Whoever wins the most amount of money in 2 hours gets a favor from the loser. No questions asked or refusals.
A favor? I asked. That's a broad range. Are these innocent favors or something else? He laughed.
That depends on the winner, and that winner will be me.
He said, tapping my nose as his smile grew smug. The gauntlet was tossed. A fizzy pink drink was placed next to me. I eyed the fruity concoction before looking up at the cocktail server. I didn't order this, I said, handing it back.
It's from Remy,
She said with frosted eyes. Oh, what is it?
a kitty cocktail.
Doesn't want me to get drunk? I asked, amused.
He said he's had to carry you around enough and has plans tonight.
Thank you, I said, setting the cocktail down to peek at the dealt cards. I didn't have time to worry why this bristly cocktail server had daggers in her eye. I had to win a favor, and it was going to be a great favor. Pair of 10s. I raised, hoping to push players out. A pair of 10s was passable, but not if the whole table played. Caleb called and raised from his spot across the table with a smile that issued a challenge. We weren't able to find seats right next to each other, and that was fine with me. He was distracting enough without our legs and hands brushing together. The players at the table were unfamiliar, but their style was familiar. It took Caleb only a few hands to reacquaint himself with the subtle play differences of low-stakes tables. Sure, there was a donkey at our table. There was also a woman who overplayed all her hands while eyeing Caleb. But other than that, we were seasoned players who knew how to navigate the table. Caleb had to adjust. He did so without losing a chip. Caleb sat with his arms crossed, waiting for me to call or fold. My fingers mindlessly shuffled a stack of chips. I studied him for a moment. It was nearly impossible to read him since he maintained his naturally playful smile. Do I play the tens? I glanced at my watch. I was running out of time. If I could win this hand, I could win the wager. I didn't want to push my luck with a pair of tens, but I called. Caleb lifted a brow with that same playful smile. He knew I was taking a stand with this one last hand, and I had the sinking feeling I just stumbled into a well-laid trap. Without being able to see his hand, I watched as the flop was laid: ace, queen, and 2. There was no help for me. If I didn't continue with a bet, Caleb would trounce by shoving all in to encourage me to fold. I had to bet large because he wouldn't allow me to do otherwise. Raising the pot with a healthy stack of chips, I leaned back to watch. Caleb wasn't prone to studying his opponents. He learned everything he wanted in one glance. He called. The turn was laid. A 9. It was no use. Unless Caleb had an outranking pair, these community cards wouldn't help for a straight or flush. I bet heavy, hoping the river would carry me. Caleb called with a wink. I couldn't read him. Actually, I could, in the sense that I instinctively knew there was something more to this hand than a few chips and a side wager. The dealer flipped over the river. A 3. He couldn't have a straight or flush. Still, he could have a better pair or a 3 of a kind. I held my breath and steadied my jumping heart, praying I wasn't giving away a tell. He could bulldoze with a simple shove of his chips. I bet heavy again, hoping he would toss his cards. Caleb's eyes never left mine. He didn't have to know what I bet because he was continuing no matter what. He shoved his chips in, spilling them into the pot. There was something to this hand, I thought again. I took a leap of faith and shoved all in. There was nothing left to do but flip over my hand. I tossed my 2 cards face up to reveal my pair of 10s. Caleb smiled and mucked his cards. Most players would have done the same, tossing their losing hand face down to the dealer so the other players couldn't see. But Caleb was different. He always showed me his cards. Always. My eyes mingled with Caleb's as the dealer shoved the chip pile over to me. Caleb had given me the win and a favor. I didn't understand why. Why would he give me the win when he needed money? I quickly gathered the chips, flipping one to the dealer. I stood to leave and Caleb stood to follow. Stay, I said, tossing him a single chip. You have a long night ahead. He caught the chip with a grin and settled back into his seat. He let me win that hand. As I cashed out, I saw Remy heading toward me. The bristly cocktail waitress stepped into his path. Remy gave her a cool courtesy smile and continued on his way. She hurried to block him again, resting her hand on his arm. She leaned in to talk. Oh Lord, another one for his shelf. He gave a tight nod, and she bustled off with a contented smile. I shook my head. Oh, Remy. He needs a woman to challenge him, not another one that will collect dust.
I see you won,
Remy said as he neared. I smiled and tucked a thick bundle of cash in my pocket. Thank you, Caleb. Do you have a date tonight? I asked, nodding in the direction of the server. His eyes followed the same path.
I wouldn't consider it a date.
I shook my head. So, another hookup? He shrugged as if fawning women begging for hookups was normal. Maybe it was. Who am I to say?
Don't,
Remy warned. What?
I see that look in your eye. You think I should take a woman on a date and then marry her. I know that look well.
I never said you should get married, but what's wrong with going out on a date?
I don't date.
Why? I asked. His already rigid shoulders tensed, and I knew I couldn't press him much further.
Jet, when I'm ready for a relationship, I'll date. But I don't want a relationship, and I don't want to date.
I held my hands up as a sign of surrender. I understand. He frowned.
No, you don't. But thank you for letting it rest.
Actually, I was starting to understand. I had a feeling Remy's heart had a deep wound that hadn't healed yet. It wasn't as if he said as much. He never says anything. It's how he places everyone at a distance, and designing women get placed the farthest away. Now was not the time to press the issue, but it did raise many questions. Who was the woman Remy let into his heart? And where was she now? I stood on my tiptoes and kissed Remy's cheek. "It'll get better," I said. It had to. I wondered if I said it more for myself than for Remy. Remy's brow puzzled and then relaxed. His large hand cupped the back of my neck as he planted a light, chaste kiss on my head.
I know it will. Now get the hell out of my casino.
He said with a small smile and strolled away.